week 14 already of the fantasy baseball season, and with the All-Star break approaching next week here, this could be a crucial week for a lot of managers. But here's a few pitchers I'd like to pick up and add this week off the wire. The first guy, Cueto of the Chicago White Sox. So Cueto, he's had a resurgence this season here with the White Sox, and he's been one of their best pitchers, especially over the last month of the season. On the season for Cueto, 68 innings, 3-4 record, 60 hits, 22 earned runs, 18 walks, 53 strikeouts, and 8 quality starts. So he's gone out there, and he's give this White Sox team a chance every ball game here, and he's going deep into games as well, 6+ innings. Over the last 3 games in a row, Cueto's gone. June 28th, the Angels, 6 innings, got the win. 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 5 Ks, a quality start. July 4th versus the Twins, 6 innings, no decision. 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. And July 9th versus the Tigers, he almost went the distance. 8 innings, got the win. 5 hits, no runs, 5 Ks, a quality start. So Cueto's pitching quality baseball. I know he's in a weak division there in the AL Central. What helps with weak hitting teams like Kansas City, Cleveland, Minnesota's been up and down, and Detroit's obviously a weak hitting team. And Cueto's pitching great, 4 quality starts in the last 5, like I mentioned. And he's in a great division where he's going to get an opportunity. And he's definitely had a resurgence this year. And right now he's available in 67% of fantasy leagues. And one of the hottest pickups this week on the waiver wire. The next guy is Merrill Kelly of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Kelly, it's been an up and down type of season for him. But as a whole, his numbers are still pretty solid. 97 in the third, 7-5 record, 86 hits, 37 runs, 34 walks, 80 strikeouts, 8 quality starts, 3.42 ERA, and a 1.23 whip. But over the last 2 weeks here, that ERA is only a 2.03 ERA with an 0.83 whip. So Kelly, he's going out there every 5th day, and he's pitching good for this Diamondback team. And it's surprising to me he's still available in 48% of fantasy leagues. I know this Diamondback team's not a good team in a tough division with the Dodgers, Giants, and the San Diego Padres, where he's not going to get a lot of win opportunities as Kelly. But he's gone out there the last 5 starts in a row with 6 innings or more in those outings. June 24th versus Detroit, 6 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. July 1st at the Rockies, 7 innings, got the win, 5 hits, a run, a walk, 3 Ks, a quality start. And July 6th versus the Giants, 6 in the third, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks, a quality start. So his next outing is tonight here at the San Francisco Giants. We had a decent outing against his last time out here is Kelly. So Kelly, if you need some innings, if you need some quality starts, and a guy who will give his team a chance every ball game out there that he pitches to win, I think he's a decent ad this week, and he's better than some options I've seen on rosters. The next guy's Brett Martin of the Texas Rangers. So the Rangers, they've taken Barlow out of the closer role for now. And Martin, he's been getting some saves over the last couple days here. On the season for Martin, 27 innings, 0-4 record, 2 saves, 22 hits, 9 runs, 9 walks, 22 Ks, and a blown save. So Martin available widely in 95% of fantasy leagues if you need a close. And like I mentioned, he's got consecutive saves in back-to-back ball games, July 8th and July 9th. Here's Martin. So Barlow out for now is the closer. And Martin shut the door down over the last 2 outings here. And right now, if you need a closer, a second or third closer on your roster, I think Martin is a decent ad here. And I would ride it out with him until Barlow's back in the closer role or Martin just struggles here. So if you need a closer, Martin's a solid ad this week. And he's pretty much virtually available in all fantasy leagues. The next guy I look to add this week here, Crawford of the Boston Red Sox. So Crawford, he's come up and he's pitched great baseball in the few outings he had so far this season. Is Cutter Crawford on the season here, 30 innings only, 2-2 record, 28 hits, 15 runs, 15 walks, already 38 strikeouts, which I like. Just obviously the walks aren't great. A 4.30 ERA, a 1.43 whip, but over the last couple weeks here for Crawford, 2.33 ERA and a 1.03 whip. So right here, last couple games for him, he's versus Tampa, July 4th, 5 1/3, got the win. 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 8 Ks. And then July 9th versus a great Yankee lineup. 5 innings, I know he only went. 4 hits, a run, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So the Ks are pretty good here for Crawford on the season. He's going 5-6 innings about. I know he's in a tough division, but right here, this Red Sox team, they still got a shot here for the wild card. And Crawford is a guy who's gone out there and he's looked good. And now, with the injury to Seawall, I think he's going to keep a spot here in the rotation is Crawford, and he's available in 98% of fantasy leagues, and he also qualifies at starter and reliever, which is good versatility as well. So Crawford, I think, could be a hot pickup this week, and his next outing's most likely once again at the Tampa Bay Rays coming up here for Cutter Crawford. The next guy I look to add is Chris Flexen of the Seattle Mariners. So Flexen, he had a pretty solid season last year in his first year with Seattle. And this season, he got off to the slow start, but the last few weeks here, he's kicked it back into gear. On the season, 90 innings, 5-8 record, 94 hits, 40 earned runs, 32 walks, 66 Ks, 7 quality starts for Flexen, a 4 ERA, a 1.40 whip. But last month here for Flexen, 3.21 ERA and a 1.43 whip. So right here, this American League West, besides pretty much the Astros, every other team, I feel like they're similar. Texas, they're hot and cold a lot, hitting the baseball. The Angels, they've been free-falling of late. And the A's are one of the worst teams in all of baseball. So the last few games here for Flexen, June 24th at the Angels, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. June 29th versus Baltimore, 6 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. And July 4th at the Padres, 6 2/3, got the win here, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks, a quality start. So he's got a great outing tomorrow at the Washington Nationals. Another bad team that can't hit the baseball, obviously, here. And Chris Flexen, he's available widely as well in 83% of fantasy leagues. So right now, if he's on your wire, I like him as a pickup. He plays in a pretty weak division. Seattle's been playing good baseball of late here, and maybe he's starting to find it again like he did last season. Is Flexen here in the second half approaching of the fantasy baseball season. The next guy is Lodo of the Cincinnati Reds, so one of the top pitching prospects to come up in the major leagues this season. Here's Lodo on the season, 25 1/3, 2 record, 30 hits on the season, and runs, 9 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 4.47 ERA, and a 1.47 whip here. So Lodo, he came up back after injury last time versus the New York Mets on July 5th, and he pitched decent. I know he only went 4 2/3, but no runs in that one. 3 hits, 3 walks, 8 Ks. And then July 10th yesterday versus Tampa Bay, 5 innings, got the win, 9 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. So Lodo, he's available widely in a lot of fantasy leagues still at 69%. And he's a lefty that could go out there and pitch good baseball. I know the matchups have been tough of late, and he hasn't gone deep into games, but he's got great upside. And versus 2 pretty good lineups here, he's held his own, is Lodo. His next time around in the rotation, if he could keep it going. But right now, like I mentioned, not a lot of great pitchers on a lot of fantasy teams. And Lodo has good upside. I know he's in Cincinnati, where they're not going to get many wins, one of the worst teams in the league. But that division isn't great as well, besides the Brewers and the Cardinals in the NL Central. You got a bad red team, obviously, he's on. But also the Chicago Cubs not doing much this season here. And the Pittsburgh Pirates rebuilding as well and not doing much. So Lodo, if he versus a couple of those weaker teams, he definitely could take the next step in fantasy baseball. And he's a guy who definitely would go out there and add this week. The next guy is Brian Bello with the Boston Red Sox. So Bello, he came up and he had command issues in his first career start in the major leagues. Plus, it was obviously a tough matchup versus the Tampa Bay Rays. So Brian Bello in that one, 4 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks in that ball game versus Tampa Bay with a 9 ERA and a 2.25 whip. So his next outing's actually here tonight at the Tampa Bay Rays. And Bello, he's got upside. He's got electric stuff, no doubt about it. But the problem with him's been the control. But the Red Sox obviously are going to give him a couple opportunities in this rotation with injuries and just guys not performing the whole season here for Boston. It's been type of a makeshift type of season here where a lot of guys have had starting opportunities and now they're trying to figure out their rotation and try and get a wild card spot, with the Yankees most likely obviously wrapping up that division already 14, 15 games up, even though I know there's about 75, 80 games left in the season. But Bello, we've heard a lot of hype about him. Came up last week, and a lot of people gave up on him already, only in 1 start here. And he's still available in 78% of fantasy leagues. So if Bello got dropped in your fantasy leagues and he's out there, I advise fantasy owners to go out there and get him, because this guy's got great upside. He's jumped quickly through that Red Sox system, and I think he's ready for the major leagues. Once he gets comfortable and gets into a groove, this guy definitely could pay great fantasy dividends for owners. And I would give him an ad this week. The next guy is Dean Kremer of the Baltimore Orioles. So Kremer, it's been pretty solid of a season and a surprising season here for him. And this Baltimore Oriole team, they've been hot here. They've gotten their record all the way to 43 and 44. So they're a little bit of a nice story on the season, even though they're not going to make the playoffs with a tough American League, and especially in the division that they play in, with 4 teams possibly making the playoffs this season. On the season for Kremer, 37 and 2/3, 3-1 record, 35 hits, 9 earned runs, 12 walks, 30 Ks, 2 quality starts, 2.15 ERA, and a 1.25 whip. So right here, he's gone out there and he's holding the competition down. When I know he's only going 5.5 innings a game here is Kremer, but for a guy to be on Baltimore and pitch good baseball is very surprising, especially in the division, and especially how bad the Baltimore Orioles have been over the last 4 to 5 seasons, especially so the last few games here for Kremer. June 28th at the Mariners, 7 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks, and a quality start. July 4th versus Texas, he had a hiccup, 4 2/3, 8 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. And July 9th versus the Angels, a good back, 5 innings, got the win, 2 hits, 3 walks, 7 Ks. So his next outing is going to be at the Tampa Bay Rays later in the week. Here's Kremer. But it's just surprising to me here that he's available in all these fantasy leagues still at 79%. So if he's out there, definitely go out there and get him. And if he struggles for a few starts in a row, then you go drop him. But right now, this guy's got to be owned in all 10 and 12 team leagues is Kremer, I think. The next guy is Knebel of the Philadelphia Phillies. So it looks like Knebel might be the man once again at closer position here for the Phillies. On the season, it hasn't been a great first season for him in Philadelphia. 35 innings, 2-5 record, 12 saves, 25 hits, 12 earned runs, 22 walks, 32 Ks, 4 blown saves. But still, the ERA not horrible, a 3.09 ERA and a 1.34 whip. So Knebel, he's not available in many fantasy leagues. Only available right now in 37% of fantasy leagues. But if you need a closer, I would get Knebel. And this Philly team, they've been playing good baseball really since June 1st here. And that third wild card right now is this Philly team. They're hitting the baseball well. They just came off a 2 out of 3 victory versus the St. Louis Cardinals over the weekend. Here's Philly. And Knebel, if he could find the groove and get things going, this guy could finish the season with 25, 30 saves. I know the NL East is a tough division with the Braves on a monster tear, winning 29 out of 37 games. And the Mets have been good all season in first place here. But Knebel, if he could just find his stuff and close out games for this Philly team, I think he's pretty solid as your number 2 closer. And I would give him an ad this week. And the final pitcher I look to add this week here is Paul Seawall of the Seattle Mariners. I mentioned Seawall as an ad last week, and he's got added in 10% of fantasy leagues over the last week. But he's still available right here is Seawall in 39% of fantasy leagues. On the season here for Seawall, 32 1/3, 3-2 record, 10 saves, 16 hits, 9 earned runs, 7 walks, 8 strikeouts, and 2 blown saves here for Seawall. So he's gone out there over his last few appearances, and he hasn't given up a run, is Seawall, in his last 6 appearances. So he's pitching good baseball. This Mariner team, they've been hot of late here, and they play in a weak division where Seawall, I think, could get 2 or 3 saves a week here for the remainder of the season if they keep it going. And their next few matchups at Washington and Texas, very beatable teams. So Seawall is your second closer, will be pretty solid, I think, here for fantasy owners. And right now, this is possibly the last week you could go out there and get him before he's owned in way too many fantasy leagues. So that's a few pitches I look to add here for Week 14 of the fantasy baseball season.